In 2020, during a worldwide pandemic, your generosity and support of AdventHealth was incredibly meaningful. Our community supported AdventHealth in a variety of ways and helped to advance care for patients and families throughout Central Florida.
When COVID-19 first hit our community, we joined together with AdventHealth foundations across the country to develop a national campaign. In an effort to care for our clinical staff while they cared for patients throughout the country, we developed care packages for employees impacted by COVID, provided lodging for on-call staff, delivered notes of encouragement, and gratefully accepted food from local businesses. Locally, AdventHealth Foundation Central Florida raised nearly $3.4 million through donations and in-kind gifts to support relief efforts and care for the health and well-being of our community. Your generosity was felt by many of our community members and healthcare heroes in a time when they needed it the most. Thank you for your help and endless support throughout this journey. We truly are greater as a whole.
Moffitt Cancer Center and AdventHealth Cancer Institute have joined forces to bring hope and healing to even more individuals. Together, as two of the largest cancer care providers in Florida, we are collaborating to offer more personalized cancer care while conducting new research, reaching more patients, and offering advanced treatment options. Thanks to generous community support, over $2 million was raised to benefit oncology programs, research, and patient financial assistance through AdventHealth Cancer Institute and AdventHealth Cancer Research in 2020. Thank you for supporting our cancer patients and their families through their health journey as they receive the best care close to home.
We're grateful to receive $200,000 to support thousands of low-income patients who do not have access to cardiac and pulmonary rehabilitation services after experiencing a cardiac event or serious lung diagnosis. A new fellowship program will set the stage for the Cardiovascular Institute to excel and lead in teaching for post-residency medical students to train the next generation of physicians. Through your contributions, you have helped advance cardiovascular care for patients in Central Florida and beyond.
In 2020, AdventHealth for Children received multiple gifts aimed to provide one of the first comprehensive mental and behavioral health care for children in our community. An additional $170,000 was given to support the opening of the Early Learning Center in the West Lakes community, allowing us to extend our mission out into the community. Thank you for generously helping the lives of over 82,000 children and families at AdventHealth.
With over $200,000 in funding, including grants from the Miller Foundation and the Helmsley Charitable Trust, Dr. Richard Prattley and his team of talented scientists have embarked on an ambitious set of studies to identify people with early-stage type 1 diabetes. Last year, over $89,000 in diabetes scholarship helped 452 people receive diabetes education and assistance. And with so many people out of work due to the pandemic, these scholarship dollars were truly life-saving. One patient said, "Because of your support, I'm alive today." Thank you for supporting diabetic patients in Central Florida and beyond. Through education and assistance, we're changing lives by helping people manage their diabetes.
AdventHealth University awarded over $417,000 in scholarships to 160 students studying to help extend the healing ministry of Christ. In addition, the Grace Fund has helped employees who face challenging circumstances in both the pandemic and other unexpected expenses a crisis might bring. With your support, you are helping shape the future doctors, nurses, and clinical staff at AdventHealth University. Thank you for your contributions.
While our Sharing Smiles teams were forced to temporarily remain in the U.S. due to COVID-19, the program provided care for over 300 children in 6 Latin American countries through Sharing Smiles' 3 program areas: cleft lip and palate treatment, dentistry, and rehabilitation. One of the most memorable gifts came from the downtown DeLand Rotary Clubs, raising over $30,000 to provide cleft surgeries and follow-up care for over 120 children in Latin America. Thank you to the Sharing Smiles Board. During this unprecedented time, we are proud to continue partnerships, scholarships, and new opportunities to our partners, along with virtual training, surgical supplies, and PPE.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, oxygen became a scarce resource in many parts of Peru. Your efforts raised over $116,000 to help Clinica Americana obtain an oxygen generating facility for their hospital to benefit their patients and community. AdventHealth Global Missions also sent thousands of personal protective equipment supplies to hospitals and clinics in 9 different countries to aid thousands of healthcare workers as they cared for patients during COVID-19. Thank you for all you do around the globe to extend the healing ministry of Christ.
The Nicholson Pavilion's Rehabilitation Center helped over 1,000 patients relearn daily activities after experiencing life-saving care. This rehabilitation center also focuses on building up the patient's confidence, strength, and help them feel whole. The new 27,000 square foot emergency department includes 32 beds with private rooms and has served over 26,000 patient visits in 2020. This is the work of your generosity in action. Thank you to the Winter Park Board for supporting local families and friends seeking care at AdventHealth Winter Park.
Hospice Care at AdventHealth responded to the COVID-19 pandemic by being the only hospice in Central Florida to accept active COVID patients in the Orlando inpatient unit. When schools began closing in 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic, the bereavement program pressed forward and shifted their response by appropriately offering students 1-hour grief education support groups. We appreciate your gifts in helping patients and families receive emotional and medical support through AdventHealth Hospice Care.
Over $400,000 was raised to support underserved patients who may not meet the minimum financial requirements to apply for life-saving transplant procedure. This funding will aid patients who are diagnosed with advanced end-stage organ failure receive a life-saving organ transplant. The AdventHealth Transplant Institute Cardiothoracic Program performed the first heart transplant in Florida through a process known as donation after circulatory death, DCD. This heart was no longer beating, was evaluated under a clinical FDA investigation. Your generosity supports this type of innovative technology. Thank you for choosing to help local families seeking life-saving transplant care at AdventHealth.
Our employee giving program serves AdventHealth team members in need, global initiatives, research, and other strategic priorities of the hospital. The Hope Fund supports employees who are in financial distress through no fault of their own. In 2020, over 270 employees felt the impact of gifts from generous team members. During a time where our caregivers were pouring in extra time and effort during the pandemic, we are grateful for the generosity of our own employees who generated $1.5 million in 2020.
In lieu of Golden Gala, the team organized a safe holiday event in honor of healthcare heroes. Contributions from AdventHealth's Drive Into the Holidays supports treatments to critically ill patients, new protocols that keep AdventHealth on the cutting edge of COVID-19 research, and additional programs and services. The AdventHealth Sporting Clay Shoot has grown tremendously and more than doubled in dollars raised in 2020. This event supports student scholarships at AdventHealth University for the next generation of healthcare professionals, along with other vital programs at AdventHealth. In a year where very few in-person events occurred due to COVID-19, we're grateful to have gathered together with you in more creative ways to continue to raise support and awareness for patients and families receiving care at AdventHealth.
Your support continues our legacy of generosity, which started in 1908 when we first began serving Central Florida. With your help, we raised over $15 million in 2020. Thank you for your commitment to extending the healing ministry of Christ in Central Florida and around the world.